The black void of deep space stretched out endlessly before the battered salvage vessel, its engines thrumming as it navigated the hazardous debris fields. Captain Jack Riggs leaned back in his chair, squinting at the sensor readings flickering across the main console. "Anything promising out there, Ava?" he called out to his first mate. Ava, a seasoned pilot with a knack for spotting valuable salvage, worked the controls with practiced ease. "Hold on, I'm picking up something on the long-range scanners. Looks like a large object, maybe a derelict ship. Can't make out the details yet." Riggs felt a surge of excitement. Finding intact ships, even ancient wrecks, was the holy grail of space salvage. The potential payout could set his crew up for life. He straightened up in his chair. "Bring us in for a closer look. Nice and slow. I don't want to spook whatever it is." The salvage vessel drifted forward, its powerful thrusters propelling it cautiously through the sea of drifting space junk. As they drew nearer, the mysterious object began to take shape. An enormous angular vessel, its hull scarred by the ravages of time and battle. "Well, I'll be damned," Riggs muttered, eyes widening. "That's no ordinary wreck. That's an honest-to-goodness alien warship." Ava let out a low whistle. "I've never seen anything like it. The design is completely unlike any human ship. This could be worth a fortune if we can get it back in one piece." Riggs nodded, his mind racing. "Prep the towing rigs and get the rest of the crew on standby. Let's see if we can't haul this thing back to the shipyard in one piece." For the next several hours, the salvage crew worked tirelessly, expertly maneuvering their vessel around the alien warship, deploying the heavy-duty towing cables and securing them to the wreck's reinforced hull. It was delicate, dangerous work, requiring absolute precision to avoid inadvertently damaging the priceless find. As the last cable was locked into place, Riggs surveyed the scene with a satisfied grin. "All right, let's get this baby moving. Nice and slow. I don't want to risk losing it now." The salvage ship's engines roared to life, straining against the immense weight of the alien vessel as it began the long, arduous journey back to their home shipyard. Riggs watched the distant stars crawl by, his mind whirling with possibilities. "If this thing is as advanced as it looks, we could be sitting on the find of the century," he muttered, half to himself. "The kind of tech we could uncover, the weapons systems. Hell, even the engines alone could revolutionize human space travel." Ava nodded in agreement. "I've never seen anything like the design of this ship. Looks like it's been through one hell of a battle, too. Wonder what kind of enemy could put a beating like that on something so massive." Riggs shrugged. "Guess we'll find out soon enough. For now, let's just focus on getting it back in one piece. I've got a good feeling about this one. Ava, this could change everything." As the salvage vessel steadily made its way back to the shipyard, word of their find began to spread. Across human space, news of the ancient alien warship discovery traveled like wildfire, sparking equal measures of excitement and trepidation. At the highest levels of human government and military command, alarms were raised. The implications of such an advanced alien technology falling into human hands were profound. Urgent orders were issued, directing the salvage crew to deliver the wreck to a secure location for immediate analysis. But Riggs and his team were singularly focused on the task at hand, intent on claiming their prize. After weeks of painstaking travel, the battered salvage vessel finally pulled into the bustling shipyard, the massive alien warship in tow. "Welcome home, you magnificent bastard," Riggs said, gazing up at the towering angular hull. He turned to his crew, eyes shining with pride. "All right, let's get this thing unloaded and secured. I want the best engineers and scientists we can find working on it ASAP. We're about to unlock some serious secrets." As the salvage crew rushed to carry out Riggs' orders, a small contingent of armed security personnel arrived, intercepting them before they could begin the unloading process. "Captain Riggs, you and your crew are to cease all work immediately," a stern-faced officer announced. "This vessel is now under the jurisdiction of the United Nations Space Command. You are to stand down and await further instructions." Riggs bristled, his triumphant mood quickly soaring. "The hell you say? We're the ones who risked our asses to drag this thing all the way back here. We found it. It's ours." The officer remained impassive. "I understand your frustration, Captain, but this discovery is now a matter of galactic security. You and your crew will be compensated for your efforts, but the Prometheus is too valuable to be left in private hands." Riggs opened his mouth to protest, but Ava's firm hand on his arm stopped him. She shook her head grimly. "Don't fight this, Jack. You know they'll bury us in red tape if we try. Let's just take the payout and walk away." Shooting one last resentful glance at the alien warship, Riggs relented with a heavy sigh. "Fine, but you tell those brass-hat bureaucrats they're standing on a gold mine. I hope they know what they're doing." As the salvage crew reluctantly departed, a new team of technicians and military personnel swarmed the Prometheus, their faces alight with a mixture of trepidation and unbridled scientific curiosity. The fate of humanity was about to take an unprecedented turn. The massive alien warship, now christened the UNS Prometheus, loomed over the bustling shipyard like an ominous specter. Under the watchful eye of the United Nations Space Command, a team of the brightest human scientists and engineers had been assembled to begin the painstaking process of reverse engineering its advanced systems. Leading the effort was Emily Walker, a brilliant young American aerospace engineer whose technical prowess was matched only by her insatiable curiosity. As she conducted the first comprehensive scans of the Prometheus, her mind raced with possibilities. "This is unlike anything I've ever seen," she murmured, poring over the reams of data scrolling across her display. "The power output, the structural integrity. It's all so far beyond our current capabilities. It's like they've cracked the fundamental laws of physics." Beside her, Dr. Takeshi Nakamura, a renowned expert in exotic propulsion systems, nodded grimly. "Indeed, the propulsion core alone is generating enough energy to power a small city, and the materials used in the hull construction are completely foreign to us. It's going to take months, if not years, to begin to understand the underlying principles behind this technology." Emily tapped her chin thoughtfully. "Then we'd better get started. Every day we waste is another day the rest of the galaxy gets closer to learning about our new toy." Over the following weeks and months, the team of human researchers threw themselves into the daunting task of unraveling the Prometheus mysteries. They dissected every system, probed every component, and ran countless simulations, slowly piecing together the puzzle. The discoveries they made were both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. The Prometheus shields, for example, operated on a fundamentally different principle than anything in the human arsenal, projecting a coherent energy field that could shrug off the most powerful conventional weaponry. Its plasma cannons, meanwhile, drew power directly from the reactor core, unleashing devastatingly concentrated bursts of superheated plasma that could cripple even the largest warships with ease. "This is game-changing," Emily said, her eyes shining with a mixture of wonder and trepidation. "If we can replicate even a fraction of this technology, it would give us a decisive military advantage over any other power in the galaxy." Nakamura nodded solemnly. "Yes, but therein lies the problem. The implications of this discovery are profound. We cannot simply hoard this knowledge and technology for ourselves. The balance of power in the galaxy will be forever altered." Emily chewed her lip, her brow furrowed. "I know. But how do we even begin to share something like this? The other alien civilizations would see it as a grave threat. We could be provoking a war just by revealing what we found." "Precisely," Nakamura replied, "which is why we must proceed with the utmost caution. Our findings must be presented to the highest levels of the UN with extreme discretion. We cannot risk this information falling into the wrong hands." As the research continued, the team's sense of unease only grew. They uncovered evidence of the Prometheus' incredible combat capabilities, advanced targeting systems, rapid-fire plasma batteries, and a cloaking device that could render the massive vessel all but invisible to sensors. The sheer firepower of the alien warship was staggering, and the implications for human military supremacy were profound. Yet the more they learned, the more questions arose. What kind of alien civilization had created such a formidable vessel? And what had they been fighting against that required such devastating power? "There's something else going on here," Emily murmured, staring intently at the holographic schematics. This ship wasn't just built for war. It was built to survive it. The redundancies, the self-repair systems, the over-engineered everything. It's like they were preparing for an apocalyptic conflict. Nakamura nodded grimly. "Indeed. And if that's the case, then we may be sitting on a powder keg that could ignite a galactic conflagration, the likes of which humanity has never seen." The two scientists exchanged a weighted look, the gravity of their discovery weighing heavily on them. They knew that once the UN leadership learned the full extent of the Prometheus capabilities, the course of human history would be forever altered. The future they were shaping, for better or worse, was now in their hands. "We need to move carefully from here on out," Emily said, her voice low and resolute. "The fate of our entire species may depend on how we handle this." Nakamura placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Then we had best get to work. The clock is ticking, and the stakes have never been higher." With renewed determination, the research team redoubled their efforts, racing against time to unravel the secrets of the ancient alien warship known as the Prometheus. The future of humanity hung in the balance. Weeks turned into months as the team of human researchers worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the ancient alien warship known as the Prometheus. Led by the brilliant young engineer Emily Walker and the seasoned propulsion expert Dr. Takeshi Nakamura, they dissected every system, probing the limits of their understanding. The discoveries they made were both exhilarating and deeply unsettling. The Prometheus power core, for example, was a marvel of exotic physics, a reactor that harnessed the very fabric of space-time to generate virtually limitless energy. Its shields operated on a frequency that rendered them impervious to conventional weapons, while its plasma cannons could reduce even the largest human warships to molten slag. "This technology is generations ahead of anything we've developed," Emily murmured, awestruck as she pored over the latest round of test results. "If we can just figure out how to replicate even a fraction of it, it would change the balance of power in the galaxy overnight." Nakamura nodded solemnly, his brow furrowed. "That is precisely the problem. The implications of what we've uncovered are staggering. We cannot simply hoard this knowledge for our own benefit. The other alien civilizations would see it as an unacceptable threat." Emily chewed her lip, her mind racing. "Then what are we supposed to do? We're sitting on a gold mine, but we can't just hand it over to the rest of the galaxy. The world powers would never agree to that." "I'm afraid we have no choice," Nakamura replied, his voice grave. "The UN has made it abundantly clear. This discovery is now a matter of global security. We have to work with them to develop a strategy for revealing the Prometheus capabilities to the rest of the galaxy, carefully and cautiously." Emily let out a frustrated sigh. "I just can't shake the feeling that we're playing with fire here. What if the other aliens see this as an act of aggression? We could be provoking a war that humanity has no hope of winning." "That is precisely the risk we must mitigate," Nakamura said. "Which is why we need to focus our efforts on understanding this vessel as thoroughly as possible. The more we know, the better we can prepare for the diplomatic and strategic challenges ahead." With renewed vigor, the research team dove deeper into their work, driven by a sense of urgency that grew with each passing day. They needed to unlock the Prometheus secrets before the rest of the galaxy caught wind of their discovery. Finally, after months of painstaking effort, the moment of truth arrived. The team had identified the key control systems, reverse-engineered the complex algorithms that governed the ship's functions, and even managed to establish a limited interface with the alien vessel's onboard AI. "It's time," Emily announced, her voice trembling with a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration. "Let's see if we can bring this thing back to life." With a nod, Nakamura stepped up to the main console, his fingers flying across the controls. Tension built in the air as the massive Prometheus thrummed to life, its systems powering up one by one. Suddenly, the cavernous hangar was flooded with light as the Prometheus reactor core ignited, its energy signature spiking to levels that made the human researchers gasp in awe. "By all the gods," Nakamura breathed, his eyes wide. "It's working. The power core is online and stable. We've done it." A cheer rose up from the assembled team, their faces alight with triumph. Emily felt a surge of pride and disbelief wash over her. Against all odds, they had succeeded in reactivating the ancient alien warship. But as the initial euphoria faded, a heavy silence settled over the hangar. The magnitude of what they had accomplished began to sink in, and with it, a growing sense of unease. "Now comes the real challenge," Nakamura said, casting a wary glance at the towering Prometheus. "We've brought this weapon of unimaginable power back to life. The question is, what are we going to do with it?" Emily swallowed hard, her gaze fixed on the sleek, angular hull of the vessel. "That's what keeps me up at night. With this kind of technology in our hands, we could reshape the entire galactic order. But at what cost?" Nakamura placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "One step at a time, Emily. For now, let's focus on understanding the Prometheus capabilities to the fullest. The rest we'll have to figure out as we go." Nodding resolutely, Emily turned back to the console, her fingers flying across the controls as she initiated a comprehensive systems check. The future of humanity hung in the balance, and she was determined to be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Prometheus hummed to life, its powerful engines rumbling with barely contained might, a new era dawned for humanity, one that would test the limits of their ingenuity, their resolve, and their very place in the cosmos. The reactivation of the ancient alien warship known as the Prometheus had sent shockwaves through the highest levels of human government and military command. News of the incredible discovery traveled with lightning speed, sparking equal measures of excitement and trepidation among the world's superpowers. At the UN headquarters in New York, a hastily convened emergency session was underway, with representatives from every major nation debating the implications and the appropriate course of action. "This discovery changes everything," the American delegate declared, his voice grave. "The technology we've uncovered in that alien vessel is generations beyond anything we've developed. If we can harness it, it would give us a decisive military advantage over any potential adversaries, both human and extraterrestrial." The Russian representative nodded in agreement. "Precisely, which is why we cannot simply hand over this technology to the public. The Prometheus must be placed under the direct control of the United Nations Space Command, where its capabilities can be carefully managed and leveraged for the greater good of humanity." "Absolutely not," the Chinese delegate interjected, her tone sharp. "This is a matter of global security, not just military advantage. We cannot risk this technology falling into the wrong hands and upsetting the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. It must be shared equitably among all nations." The debate raged on, with each nation jockeying for control and influence over the ancient alien warship. Emily Walker and Takeshi Nakamura, the two scientists leading the research team, watched the proceedings with growing unease. "This is exactly what we were afraid of," Emily murmured to Nakamura. "The world powers are already fighting over the Prometheus, and we haven't even begun to fully understand its capabilities." Nakamura nodded solemnly. "Indeed. And the longer we delay, the more the situation is likely to escalate. We need to find a way to present our findings to the UN in a manner that emphasizes the need for caution and cooperation, rather than competition." Rallying their fellow researchers, Emily and Nakamura prepared a comprehensive briefing, outlining the Prometheus key systems and the profound implications of the discovery. As they stood before the assembled delegates, the weight of their responsibility weighed heavily upon them. "Gentlemen, "Ladies," Emily began, her voice clear and confident. "What we have uncovered in the Prometheus is nothing short of a game-changer for humanity. Its power core alone could provide limitless, clean energy for our world. Its shields and weapons systems are light years beyond our current capabilities." She paused, letting the gravity of her words sink in. "However, we must approach this technology with the utmost caution. The Prometheus was not built for peaceful exploration or resource extraction. It was designed for one purpose: war." Nakamura stepped forward, his gaze sweeping across the room. The level of sophistication and redundancy built into this vessel suggests that its creators were preparing for a catastrophic conflict. We do not yet know the nature of the threat they were facing, but it is clear that they possessed the means to wage devastating campaigns across the stars. The delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their expressions a mix of fascination and concern. "Which is why," Emily continued, "we believe the Prometheus should be placed under the joint stewardship of the United Nations Space Command. Its development and deployment must be carefully managed, not used as a tool for individual nations to assert their dominance." Nakamura nodded in agreement. "Only through cooperation and a shared vision for the responsible use of this technology can we ensure that the Prometheus is a force for peace and stability in the galaxy, rather than a harbinger of war." The delegates fell silent, weighing the implications of the scientist's words. After a tense moment, the American representative raised his hand. "While I understand your concerns, Dr. Walker, Dr. Nakamura, we cannot ignore the potential military advantages this discovery offers. The Prometheus must be incorporated into the United Nations Space Command, but with the United States maintaining oversight and operational control." The Russian and Chinese delegates immediately objected, setting off another round of heated debate. Emily and Nakamura exchanged a weary look, realizing that their pleas for caution and cooperation were falling on deaf ears. As the arguing continued, a decision was finally reached. The Prometheus would be placed under the command of the United Nations Space Command, but with a multinational oversight committee tasked with managing its development and deployment. The vessel would be christened the UNS Prometheus, a symbol of humanity's technological prowess and its newfound role as a major power in the galactic order. Emily and Nakamura left the meeting feeling uneasy, their fears of the Prometheus being used as a tool for geopolitical one-upmanship only reinforced. They knew that the true test was yet to come, keeping this incredible alien weapon under control as the world powers jockeyed for influence and superiority. With a heavy sigh, Emily turned to her colleague. "We've opened Pandora's box, Takeshi. Now we just have to hope we can keep the demons inside." Nakamura nodded grimly. "Indeed, the fate of the galaxy may very well rest on our shoulders. God help us all." In the months following the reactivation of the ancient alien warship known as the Prometheus, the political landscape of the human-occupied territories had grown increasingly tense and volatile. The world powers, united under the banner of the United Nations Space Command, had begun a feverish campaign to rapidly develop and deploy the Prometheus groundbreaking technology, a move that had not gone unnoticed by the dominant alien civilizations beyond human space. Emily Walker and Takeshi Nakamura, the two scientists who had spearheaded the initial reverse engineering efforts, watched with growing trepidation as the political machinations unfolded. Their pleas for caution and cooperation had largely fallen on deaf ears as the human nations jockeyed for strategic advantage and military supremacy. "We're playing with fire, Takeshi," Emily said, her brow furrowed with worry. "The way the UNSC is aggressively pushing the Prometheus development, it's only a matter of time before the other aliens catch wind of it. And when they do, I fear the repercussions could be catastrophic." Nakamura nodded solemnly, his expression grave. "I share your concerns, Emily. The balance of power in the galaxy is about to be irrevocably altered. We've given humanity the keys to a technological kingdom beyond our wildest dreams, but at what cost?" The two scientists had been granted limited access to the Prometheus, tasked with overseeing its continued development and ensuring the integrity of the alien vessel's systems. They had witnessed firsthand the rapid pace of the upgrades and modifications, each one transforming the Prometheus into an ever more formidable weapon of war. "Look at this," Emily said, pulling up a holographic display of the Prometheus schematics. "The UNSC has already implemented a cloaking system that can render the entire ship virtually invisible to sensors. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They're rapidly expanding the Prometheus arsenal, doubling the plasma battery capacity, enhancing the targeting systems, and more." Nakamura's eyes narrowed as he studied the data. It's as if they're preparing for an all-out galactic conflict. And the worst part is, I don't think they understand the true nature of the threat they may be inviting. Emily sighed heavily, her shoulders slumping. "We have to find a way to slow this down, Takeshi. The Prometheus is a powder keg waiting to explode, and if we're not careful, it could take the entire galaxy down with it." Aliens undervalue a human prisoner and quickly learn their mistake. Galactic Council left speechless as a human conquers the galaxy's most dangerous creature. The Galactic Council's bold decision sparks a Terran Empire counterattack. Aliens shocked. Humans choose mercy over conflict and change the course of history. All civilizations rejected the alien students until the Deathworlders stepped up. The critical error that led to the fall of an entire alien civilization. Alien Succubus introduces her earthly partner to her otherworldly family. "We once feared Deathworlders, but humans changed the game by becoming our allies. An alien captain's brave rescue of a human creates an unbreakable alliance. An alien species abandoned by everyone, except the humans. Alien princess surprised when a human's nectar unexpectedly lands on her. This alien family was left to perish by all, except for the humans. When a young heir inherits wealth, he finds love with a surprising alien ally. Alien girl awestruck when a human becomes her unlikely savior. When humans master alien combat techniques, unpredictable results follow. Tensions across the vastness of human-occupied space had reached a boiling point. The rapid development and deployment of the ancient alien warship, known as the Prometheus, had not gone unnoticed by the dominant alien civilizations beyond the reach of human influence. As the United Nations Space Command continued to pour resources into enhancing the Prometheus' formidable capabilities, the Confederation of Xenos, a coalition of the most powerful alien factions, had grown increasingly alarmed. Fearing the implications of human technological supremacy, they had prepared a massive fleet, determined to strike a decisive blow against their perceived adversary. Emily Walker and Takeshi Nakamura, the two scientists who had spearheaded the initial reverse engineering efforts on the Prometheus, watched the unfolding events with a growing sense of dread. Their pleas for caution and cooperation had fallen on deaf ears, as the world powers remained intent on leveraging the alien vessel's power for their own strategic gain. "We've reached the point of no return, Takeshi," Emily said, her brow furrowed with worry. "The Confederation has mobilized its fleets, and they're heading straight for us. If we don't find a way to de-escalate this situation, we could be on the brink of an all-out galactic war." Nakamura nodded solemnly, his expression grave. "I fear you're right. The UNSC's relentless pursuit of military dominance has pushed the aliens to the breaking point. Now we must face the consequences of our actions, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance." As the Confederation's massive armada approached the human-occupied territories, the UNSC military command sprung into action, hastily deploying its own fleets to intercept the alien forces. The Prometheus, now fully operational and bristling with advanced weaponry, took its place at the heart of the human defensive line, its towering presence a symbol of humanity's newfound technological prowess. Emily and Nakamura watched the preparations unfold with a mixture of trepidation and grim determination. They knew that the coming battle would be a decisive moment, not just for the future of humanity, but for the entire galactic order. "We have to try one last time, Takeshi," Emily said, her voice resolute. We have to convince the UNSC leadership to stand down, to at least attempt a diplomatic resolution before we plunge the galaxy into war." Nakamura nodded, his expression pained. "I agree, but I fear our words may fall on deaf ears. The world powers are drunk on the power of the Prometheus, and they may be unwilling to back down, even in the face of such overwhelming odds." Nevertheless, the two scientists pressed on, racing to the UNSC command center, where they were ushered into an emergency briefing with the top military and political leaders. "Gentlemen, ladies, please, you must listen to us," Emily pleaded, her eyes searching the faces of the assembled delegates. "The Confederation has mobilized its entire fleet to destroy the Prometheus and cripple our interstellar capabilities. If we engage them now, it will be the start of a conflict that could devastate the galaxy." The American admiral, his jaw set with determination, shook his head. "We've come too far to back down now, Dr. Walker. The Prometheus is the key to human supremacy in the stars, and we won't let the aliens take that away from us." Nakamura stepped forward, his voice urgent. "But don't you see? This isn't about human supremacy. It's about survival. The Prometheus was built by an alien civilization that was preparing for a cataclysmic war. If we provoke the Confederation now, we may be inviting the very same threat upon ourselves." The room fell silent, the weight of Nakamura's words palpable. Emily held her breath, hoping that the message had finally sunk in. "Be that as it may," the Chinese delegate said, her tone measured, "we cannot simply surrender the Prometheus to our enemies. It represents too great a technological and military advantage to relinquish. We must stand and fight." As the debate raged on, the distant lights of the Confederation's fleet grew brighter on the horizon, their sensors no doubt detecting the rapidly assembling human armada. Nakamura and Emily exchanged a desperate look, realizing that their time had run out. "Very well," the American admiral declared, his voice booming across the command center. "Commence immediate launch procedures for the Prometheus and all supporting vessels. We will meet the alien threat head-on and show them the true power of humanity." A cheer rose up from the assembled officers, and Emily felt her heart sink. There was no turning back now. The Prometheus, the ancient alien warship that had once been a symbol of hope, was now poised to become the centerpiece of a conflict that could shatter the very foundations of the galaxy. As the massive vessel rumbled to life, its powerful engines igniting, Emily and Nakamura could only watch in anguished silence, their worst fears about to be realized. "God help us all," Nakamura whispered, his gaze fixed upon the looming battle to come. The battle was joined with a thunderous roar, the clash of human and alien fleets echoing across the void of space. At the heart of the human armada, the ancient alien warship known as the Prometheus stood as an unparalleled colossus, its towering presence and formidable armaments a testament to humanity's newfound technological prowess. As the Confederation's massive fleet surged forward, unleashing a hail of plasma and particle beam fire, the Prometheus responded with devastating precision, its advanced targeting systems and high-yield plasma cannons carving a path of destruction through the alien ranks. Emily Walker and Takeshi Nakamura watched the unfolding conflict from the command center, their faces etched with a mixture of awe and dread. They had warned the UNSC leadership of the consequences of provoking the Confederation, but their pleas had fallen on deaf ears. Now they could only bear witness to the cataclysmic battle that threatened to reshape the very foundations of the galaxy. "We should have tried harder to stop this," Emily murmured, her voice tinged with anguish. "If only they had listened, we might have found a way to avert this catastrophe." Nakamura placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his expression grim. "There is no use in dwelling on what-ifs, Emily. The die has been cast, and now we must focus on ensuring that humanity emerges victorious from this crucible." On the tactical displays, the battle raged with unrelenting fury. The Prometheus, its shield holding firm against the barrage of alien fire, unleashed devastating salvos that crippled and destroyed even the largest Confederation warships. The human fleet, bolstered by the alien vessel's incredible firepower, pushed forward with renewed vigor, slowly gaining the upper hand. But as the tide of the battle began to turn in humanity's favor, a new threat emerged. The Confederation's most formidable weapon, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the Prometheus in size and power. Its weapons systems, capable of unleashing devastating particle beam bursts, carved a swath of destruction through the human fleet, forcing the Prometheus and its supporting vessels to divert their attention. Emily and Nakamura watched with bated breath as the Prometheus engaged the alien dreadnought, its plasma cannons unleashing a furious barrage that threatened to overwhelm the massive vessel's defenses. The two scientists held their ground, their hands clenched tightly as they waited for the outcome of the titanic clash. In a blinding flash of energy, the dreadnought's shields collapsed, and the Prometheus plasma fire found its mark, ripping through the alien vessel's hull and reducing it to a rapidly expanding cloud of debris. A cheer went up from the human command center, but Emily and Nakamura remained silent, their expressions somber. "We've done it," the American admiral declared, his voice triumphant. "The Prometheus has proven its superiority, and with it, humanity's dominance in the stars. Aliens undervalue a human prisoner, and quickly learn their mistake." Galactic Council left speechless as a human conquers the galaxy's most dangerous creature. The Galactic Council's bold decision sparks a Terran Empire counterattack. Aliens shocked. Humans choose mercy over conflict and change the course of history. All civilizations rejected the alien students until the Deathworlders stepped up. The critical error that led to the fall of an entire alien civilization. Alien Succubus introduces her earthly partner to her otherworldly family. "We once feared Deathworlders, but humans changed the game by becoming our allies. An alien captain's brave rescue of a human creates an unbreakable alliance. An alien species abandoned by everyone, except the humans. Alien princess surprised when a human's nectar unexpectedly lands on her. This alien family was left to perish by all, except for the humans. When a young heir inherits wealth, he finds love with a surprising alien ally. Alien girl awestruck when a human becomes her unlikely savior. When humans master alien combat techniques, unpredictable results follow in the wake of the decisive victory over the Confederation's forces. The human-controlled Prometheus and its supporting fleet returned to Earth in a triumphant procession. The streets of the major cities were filled with cheering crowds, hailing the human crew as heroes and saviors of the species. But for Emily Walker and Takeshi Nakamura, the architects of the Prometheus reactivation and the scientists who had come to understand its true nature, the celebrations rang hollow. They knew that the galaxy had been forever altered, and that the power they had helped unleash would come at a heavy price. "Look at them," Emily said, her gaze fixed on the throngs of people gathered outside the UNSC headquarters. "They see the Prometheus as a symbol of our technological supremacy, our dominance over the stars. But they have no idea of the weight we now carry, the responsibility we bear." Nakamura nodded solemnly, his expression troubled. "Indeed, the Prometheus has become the cornerstone of a new human-led order, one that will shape the destiny of the galaxy for generations to come. But at what cost?" As the weeks turned to months, the Prometheus and its sister ships were deployed across human-occupied territories, serving as the vanguard of a rapidly expanding interstellar empire. The once fragmented nations of Earth had united under the banner of the UNSC, their differences set aside in the face of a common purpose: to secure humanity's place among the stars. Yet, for all their outward displays of triumph, Emily and Nakamura could not escape the nagging sense of unease that had settled over them. They had seen firsthand the devastating power of the Prometheus, and they knew that maintaining control over such a weapon would be a constant and arduous struggle. "The other aliens have been cowed into submission for now," Emily said, her brow furrowed with worry. "But we both know that this is only a temporary reprieve. The Confederation may have been defeated, but there are countless other factions and civilizations out there who will not take kindly to human dominance. Nakamura sighed heavily, his gaze drifting to the holographic displays that showed the ever-expanding reach of the UNSC's forces. You're right, and the more we push our influence, the more resistance we will face. It's a delicate balance, Emily, one that we may not be able to maintain indefinitely. As the human empire continued to grow, the Prometheus and its sister ships were tasked with maintaining order and stability across the newly conquered territories. While the alien worlds begrudgingly accepted human rule, tensions simmered beneath the surface, occasionally boiling over into open rebellion. In these moments of crisis, the Prometheus would deploy its formidable firepower, crushing the uprisings with ruthless efficiency. Emily and Nakamura watched each such intervention with a growing sense of unease, their fears about the consequences of their discovery becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. "We've become the guardians of the New World Order," Nakamura said, his voice tinged with bitterness. "But at what cost to our own humanity? The Prometheus was never meant to be a tool of subjugation, and yet that is precisely what it has become." Emily placed a comforting hand on his arm, her expression sympathetic. "I know, Takeshi, but we can't change the past. All we can do now is try to steer the course of the future, to ensure that the Prometheus is used for the greater good of all, not just the aggrandizement of human power." The two scientists redoubled their efforts, working tirelessly to influence the UNSC's policies and to advocate for a more balanced and responsible approach to the management of the Prometheus and its sister ships. But their pleas were often met with resistance, as the world powers remained steadfast in their belief in human technological supremacy. As the years passed, the human empire continued to expand, its grip on the galaxy tightening with each new conquest. The Prometheus, once a symbol of hope and wonder, had become the centerpiece of a Pax Humana, a fragile peace enforced by the might of humanity's newfound technological dominance. Emily and Nakamura watched this transformation with a mixture of pride and sorrow, knowing that the galaxy they had once sought to protect now stood on the precipice of a new and uncertain era. "We've opened Pandora's box, Takeshi," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "And now we can only hope that the evils we've unleashed can be contained, lest they consume us all." Nakamura reached out and grasped her hand, his expression resolute. "Then we must remain vigilant, Emily. The Prometheus may be the guardian of this new world order, but we must ensure that it remains a force for peace, not subjugation. The fate of the galaxy depends on it." As the Prometheus continued to patrol the newly conquered territories, its presence a constant reminder of human power and influence, Emily and Nakamura steeled themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. The future they had helped shape was uncertain, but they were determined to ensure that it would not be one of eternal conflict and oppression.